I was remembering a story from way back. My son was still in high school, and he came to me and he says, "Hey, Dad, I'm buying a truck and I need a ride." Okay. He says, "Yeah, it's up on the other side of Cleveland. Uh, you think you can give us a ride? My buddy and I are going to go up there and get this truck." So I says, "Okay, yeah, I suppose." Well, little did I know this place was all the way in Ashtabula. Now, if you know where we live, it takes about an hour to get to Cleveland, and it takes almost another 45 minutes to get to Ashtabula. So it was almost 2 hours just to get there. Now we get there, and it's like a gas station that was like deserted, but kind of like a used car dealership. But the odd thing was, there wasn't any used cars in the parking lot. The only thing in the parking lot was this truck. It was a white F-250 with a lift on it, some nice tires, and it was a 1979 F-250. Kind of a badass looking truck, but it was pretty beat up. I mean, it was well used. And the price was right. I don't remember, but I think my son only paid like $800 for this thing. Now this was even more shifty. You know, we walk inside this gas station, and there's these two Hispanic guys sitting in folding chairs. They just signed the title over, and before we could even walk back out the door and get back over to take a look at this truck that my son just bought, they were gone. So, you know, right away I'm thinking, this is kind of shaky, you know. It's kind of weird, you know. But I looked, the title looked like it was legit and everything. Everything matched on it. Now here's a real weird thing about that truck that I picked up right away. Right up here, where the windshield meets the roof, there was a bullet hole that came in straight. And if you went inside the truck, you can see where it pierced along the roof, and then it exited out through the top rear of the cab. And somebody had like sealed it over with some Bondo or something, you know, and painted it. But you could still see where the bullet had exited. So that made me kind of, I mean, it leads to a lot of questions. Obviously, if the bullet entered right at that point, it would have shattered the windshield. So the windshield was not broken or anything. So the windshield had been replaced. So it made me wonder how many other bullet holes had gone through that windshield, and what was the purpose of that? I mean, you know, it really makes you begin to wonder where this truck came from and why they were trying to unload it so quickly, and why those two Hispanic guys like poof disappeared like right after they signed the papers. I said, well, what are you going to do about plates? I said, the truck has no plates on it or nothing. You're going to drive 2 hours all the way back to you know, our place without plates? Oh yeah, they didn't think about that. And at that time of day, there wasn't really anywhere you could go to get registration for it. You know, all he had was a title. Now, I don't know what the legalities are of that. If you would have got pulled over, if he could have showed them the title that he just bought the truck. I don't know. You know, they might have just given him some leniency. But they decided at that point that they should put a plate on the truck. So they took the front plates off of my dad's Honda and put them on the back of this F-250. You know, I didn't know if I was fully on board with this or not. I thought, boy, if they get pulled over, you know, I just pray they don't get pulled over, because, you know, I don't want to get in trouble either. I don't need any trouble. At that point in my life, I was already, had already been in enough trouble, and I didn't want more. Now, if you know anything about Northeast Ohio, and you hear the town of Ashtabula or up in that area, it's called the Snow Belt. And it's called the snow belt for a reason, because the winds come off of Lake Erie and they blow just north of Cleveland and they head east and they blow right across there towards New York, towards Niagara Falls, and it just dumps snow there, called the snow belt. Well, when we left this gas station used car lot for all it was supposed to be and started heading home, we no sooner got on the highway and it started snowing. You know, first you just saw some snowflakes coming at you. But pretty soon it got heavier and it got heavier and it got heavier. And within, I'd say, like 15 minutes of driving, we were in a full-scale whiteout. I could barely see the taillights of their truck in front of me. And they were, you know, a couple car lengths ahead of me. Well, I'm following them, you know, and the roads are starting to get kind of slick. Well, they're barreling right along, you know, and I don't know, they're doing like 65, 70 mile an hour. I'm trying to keep up with them, and I'm thinking, I don't want to spin out. The roads are starting to get slippery. I slow down a little bit, but I still want to keep up with them, make sure they get home okay. Well, all of a sudden, out of the white, I see this black object, like coming through the air. It looks like this big black rectangle thing, and it's flying through the air, and it's coming right towards my windshield. So I swerve over into the other lane. Luckily, I maintained control, and here, boink, right on the road, right next to my dad's car, the bed liner had flown out of the back of this truck. Went airborne, you know, was like 20 feet in the air, just twirling around in this blizzard, and boink, hits the road right. I mean, it's just a miracle it didn't land on the hood of my dad's car. Well, my son and his buddy, whoa, they just keep right on honking down the road. I don't even think they know they lost the bed liner. I mean, so somewhere up there on the berm of the road was a bed liner laying that was never retrieved. Eventually, as we made it towards Cleveland, the snow started to let up a little bit, and it wasn't so bad, but the temperatures had dropped. And about that time, I see their turn signal come on, and they start to drift off over towards the berm of the road, off the side of the highway. And I'm like, now what are they doing? They can't stop. They got fictitious plates on there. No, they can't stop. And I pull up behind them. I hit the hazard lights. And I'm sitting there in the car, and I'm stressing now, you know. I mean, I'm dad, you know. I'm just stressing. I'm, you know, what are these guys doing, you know? Well, his buddy comes running back and knocks on the window. I roll the window down. We're out of gas. What? They come back. They piled in Grandpa's car, and we drove on down to the first exit we came to, and we got off there. There was a gas station right there. My son goes in the gas station, and all they would sell him was a 1 gallon gas can. I mean, it was like the size of my chainsaw can here. They sold him a can like this, which held like 1 gallon of gas, for $20. Ha! They're like, take it or leave it. It's your choice. So $20 bought the gas can, went out, put a couple dollars worth of fuel in it, and then we had to get back on the highway, go all the way back north again to the next exit, get off, get back on again, and come back to where the truck was. The truck was still sitting there with its hazard lights on. They poured the gallon of gas in there, and whoa, it fired right up. So I told them, I said, get that truck down there to that next exit and let's get some fuel in it. And they put some fuel in the thing. And we were able to make it home. What a day that was. You know, and I was just wired. I was so stressed out. I was so glad that we were finally home in one piece. Well, my son was able eventually to get the truck registered and get plates on it. We put the plates back on Grandpa's car. Grandpa never knew any different that his car almost got totaled by a bed liner. I really liked that truck. And I don't know how I always had the opportunity, but I I always got a chance to drive the thing. But it was a gas vacuum too. I had planned on getting fuel in it, and I guess it was one of those gas gauges where it wasn't quite all the way on empty yet, but it was getting down there below a quarter of a tank. And yeah, I ran out of gas. Yep, the guy that was sputtering at my boy, I ended up doing the same thing in the same truck. Well, luckily, I got out of the truck, and I'm thinking, oh boy, now what am I going to do? I'm going to have to walk somewhere and find a gas can and figure out how I'm going to get fuel in this thing. And I hear somebody yelling at me, and I look up. I hear along the street was this house, and up on the porch was this big burly biker that I knew, Billy. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I think I ran out of gas." He gets up and he goes, "Looks like you're going to need some help." I said, "Well, I sure would appreciate it." He said, "Well, let's go see what I can do." Well, we went back and he opened his shed. We dug around his shed. Well, Billy had one of those old metal gas cans. I mean, you know, from back in the 60s, before they even made those red plastic ones. It was like a steel can, almost like an oil can, and it had like a flexible spout on it. Well, he had one of those, and we we actually got in his Corvette, you know, and I put the gas can between my legs, and he drove me to the gas station. We put the gas in the gas can, came back, poured it in the truck started up. I thanked Billy for his help and gave him his gas can back, and made it to the gas station and made it back home again. Now, well, you see the sun's starting to go down here. End of another beautiful day. Well, anyways, thanks for the prayers and the concerns. We love and appreciate all you guys. And thanks for watching. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and stay along with us for this ride. Till next time, cats, I'll talk to y'all later.